Greetings, Star Wars fans! Today we have another video review for you. This time we're taking a look at Hera Syndulla's A-Wing Starfighter, of course from Star Wars Rebels. Now this was released actually in 2016 with a Star Wars Rogue One assortment of toys and vehicles. And I passed it up initially because of the scale of the toy, and you'll have a better chance to see that once I remove it from the packaging. However, after really looking at different images of it online and, seeing the detail and the paint apps and that sort of thing, I decided to pick it up. And it really, really looks nice in person, despite having a smaller profile than previous versions of A-Wings, like from the Power of the Force line and subsequent versions. So the first thing we see right off of the bat, of course, is the Rogue One distinguished packaging and the artwork on the box. And I have to say, this is probably some of the best artwork that I have ever seen in any of the Star Wars vehicle assortments that has been placed on packaging. Really, really nice. The ship's in an action profile on a battle scene there. Of course, firing the Nerf launcher, which is a new feature on these vehicles since Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm. And we'll talk more about that later. In the window box, you can see the Hera Syndulla action figure with her helmet on. On the side of the box, there is some artwork there of Hera Syndulla in an action scene. And that looks really nice, nicely done. And of course, on the back of the packaging, you have your obligatory product shots. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the images that say "Buy Me." On the right are the features of the vehicle. On the lower left are some of the other vehicles and toys that are available. So it's a very basic vehicle, and we're going to pause the video momentarily, remove it from its packaging. We're going to come back and see what it's all about. Stay tuned. Alright guys, we're back with Hera Syndulla and her A-Wing Starfighter from Star Wars Rebels. As you guys can see, this is an entirely new mold. The original vintage A-Wing Starfighter, as well as the subsequent versions based upon that mold, the Power of the Force, and then I think there were some that were released like in the Vintage Collection or whatever that were re-releases and store exclusives. They were all identical. They were all the same size, same mold, just different paint applications and that sort of thing. And they were really, more accurate 1:1 scale vehicles to the 3 3/4 inch action figures, also in scale with the larger Vintage Collection X-Wings. This particular ship is an entirely new mold, and it seems that Hasbro has a trend of downscaling the vehicles, which, in my opinion, is a huge mistake, because collectors really want large-scale vehicles. They want vehicles that are in scale with action figures, and this particular ship is not that. The main reason that I purchased this A-Wing is the fact that it is based directly upon the concept artwork of Ralph McQuarrie and his drawings of the A-Wing from Return of the Jedi. As you can see, it has the canted vertical stabilizers. It has different cannons, and the prow of the ship is actually one solid section instead of being split. And that's because the backstory to these fighters is that these are the original RZ-1 interceptors that were developed with Blissix and General Jan Dodonna, and they were working on a new Starfighter design as a very light, very fast interceptor, able to go head-to-head with the new Imperial fighters like the TIE Interceptor and the TIE Defender. And this ship was designed just for that. Later on, General Dodonna had the Rebel technicians remove the shield generators and the hyperdrive motivators from these ships so that they were even faster. And the downside to that, of course, is that they were easily destroyed by TIE fighters because there was no shielding. And that's something that we see kind of play out in Return of the Jedi. Also in Return of the Jedi, we see them used, in a limited role, attacking capital ships, like destroying the shield generators on top of Imperial-class Star Destroyers and helping make the attack run on the Death Star. However, their main use was as a superiority starfighter. And this particular toy is about 14 inches in length. It's 10.5 inches wide and about 3 inches tall. The other feature of this ship is the fact that it has a really nice paint scheme to it, and that was a huge selling point for me to actually buy this vehicle. And of course, on the bottom of the ship, it has the Nerf launcher, which we'll look at momentarily. But it's just a really nice design overall, very simplified, of course. There aren't any real features to it. You know, the canopy does open, and it has a new canopy design versus the previous ships. But it has a really, really nice cockpit on the inside of it. I don't know if you can see all of that. And it comes with one decal that fits here on the display console. But, you know, if you're into customizing, all of this could be custom painted. But really nice design, really solid cockpit there. And the canopy opens and closes very securely. There's not a lot of play in it. The other feature, of course, is the Hera Syndulla action figure. And, you know, I'm not real crazy about this figure. You know, these Rebel figures, I don't collect them. They seem to be made out of a softer plastic, almost rubbery type feel. Her helmet's glued onto her head. It's not removable. It's just a strip that's glued right here. And it's not something that I really like, you know, and I'm not going to be using it for this vehicle. I plan to use other Rebel pilots for these. You know, and again, a real huge disappointment for collectors because, you know, if they were going to make these, they should make them more realistic than what they do. And, you know, when you think about Hera Syndulla, you know, her name's called out over the intercom in Rogue One, and we see the ghost sitting outside the hangar, you know, on Yavin 4. And, you know, it's just kind of like you really want figures based upon these characters, but you want them to be realistic. You know, you don't want them looking like cartoon characters. And that's what these figures look like, cartoon characters. So there you have it. As for the ship itself, it's just really, really nice. You know, you look at the back, it has a totally different engine design than the vintage and Power of the Force A-Wings. And, you know, it's just a really nice looking ship. It really is. And I plan to get 3 or 4 of these and customize them, repaint them. As for the Nerf launcher, it's very similar to the one on the U-Wing Starfighter. You just place the dart in there, push that back to arm it, and then on the top of the ship right here you have the firing button, which fires the Nerf dart. And as you can see, very, very strong for a Nerf launcher on one of these ships. So ladies and gentlemen, there is Hera Syndulla's A-Wing Starfighter. Hope you guys have enjoyed the review. If you don't have this ship, I'd recommend picking it up, you know, especially online. I think with Walmart.com, it's selling for about $15. On Amazon, it's about $24 with Prime membership, free 2-day shipping. So it is a deal, especially if you buy 2 or 3 of them to, you know, accessorize. They are kind of in scale with the Resistance X-Wings from The Force Awakens, so you could use them in that manner, or with the smaller scale Power of the Force X-Wings. You know, and they're really great to customize. And again, that's something I plan to do with this particular ship. Hope you guys have enjoyed the review. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them at the bottom. If you haven't visited my Facebook page, Orion's Belt Creations, please do so. I also show my custom work on there and still photos and discussions on various science fiction genres and that sort of thing. I'm also a contributing columnist for Outer Rim News. Outer Rim News is one of the leading Star Wars news websites today with over 24,000 followers and subscribers. Everything from commentaries to collectibles to comics to live action films, video games to animated series, Outer Rim News has it covered. So if you haven't followed those guys, check them out. And I think you'll really like the content that we bring you guys on a daily basis. Thank you guys for watching my review. Stay tuned. There's more to come. May the Force be with you.